You know the vibes. The Hoop Genius podcast presented by NBA 2K22. I'm your boy Mo Moosey. Alongside me, as always, the three-time NBA champion, the super agent, real name no gimmicks, Mr. BJ Armstrong.
Oh, every time you say that, Mo, I get chills. No name, real name, no gimmicks. I love it. And that's what we're giving the people. Real talk, you know?
Real talk,
and,
man.
How you doing today? My friend?
Man, this fasting is tough, but I'm pushing through. I'm good. I'm blessed. I'm healthy. I'm alive. I can't complain. Kind of weird that there's no NBA basketball on, but it's all good. It's just one day. One day without the NBA, I don't know what to do. Like,
hey,
one day with
calm, Mo. It's calm before the storm. Because when this play-in starts, Mo, it's gonna come. And I got the funny feeling, Mo, there's going to be a lot of storylines. There's going to be something that's going to be bizarre. And we're going to be talking, screaming. So I'm apologizing beforehand to all the people out here. Because, Mo, I just got this funny feeling. You know, when you're watching and looking at these matchups, you know, Mo, I'm really concerned. You know, I'm just concerned about a lot of these matchups. So with no further just adding to that. One thing about this play-in, if you guys didn't know, on yesterday's episode, we broke down the NBA play-in and we gave our predictions for who's going to win each game. But the one thing about the play-in, BJ, is it puts the better seeded teams at a slight disadvantage because the first seed and the second seed don't know who they're playing. The other teams have a week to prepare for their opponents. But Miami, for example, who finished first in the Eastern Conference, aren't going to know until Friday who they're playing, and then they have 1 day to prepare before game one. See, I think this is an advantage for those teams, though, Mo.
Why?
I think it's an advantage for the teams because there's no preparation. There's no preparation, and the other team has to travel.
And play two other games in between.
Yes. So, Mo, I think it's a huge advantage for those teams because the other teams should be well rested. And the teams that are playing, they have to play, travel, and there's no preparation. So I think the series, in theory, shouldn't start to game 3. Yeah. Because if they play every other day, right? They'll play a game, travel the next day, play a game, off day, and travel. And those are the first 2 games. So I think there is an advantage, but I understand what you're saying, though, Mo.
Mm-hmm. Well, because we already broke down the play-in, and if you haven't, go back and listen to yesterday's show. We're going to break down some of the matchups that are locked in. Because this weekend, all 8 teams from each conference are in action. You know, Utah and Dallas get us underway. The early tip-off, 1 o'clock Eastern on Saturday. For my people over here, that's like 7 or 8 in the evening. Nice early game. BJ, that's morning time for you.
Yes.
That series there, I don't think we can preview it yet because we're still awaiting the results of Luka Doncic's calf strain. If you didn't know, he went down in the final game of the season. Ironically, he had been given a technical foul in the game before, which was his 16th technical, which meant he was supposed to be suspended for 1 game. But the Mavericks appealed it and the league rescinded the technical, meaning he played and subsequently got injured. So it's going to be difficult to preview that series. But let's go on the assumption that Luka Doncic is healthy. I don't see a way that the Mavs lose this series if Luka's healthy.
I would tend to agree with that, Mo. If Luka is healthy and they are at full strength, the Dallas Mavericks, I think the Dallas Mavericks should win this series.
I want to say this, though, even if they're not at full strength, because even if Luka's not 100, let's say Luka's only 80%, the way his game is built, he's not a Ja Morant. He's not a Russell Westbrook where he has to be 100% healthy to be his most effective. Luka plays that old man kind of slow at his own pace, a few floaters, a few runners, a few step backs. Even if he's just 80%, I still like the Mavs to win this series. Do you agree?
Well, I don't want to underestimate. I think that's probably it's like a concerned parent. You know, I there's always something that could go wrong. And the series takes on a life of its own. And every series, I always go into it with like, I have to be prepared for whatever happens. I think, you know, that your health is priority number one. So your availability. Right now, we're talking about who's available. And it's going to require, Mo, because you never know what can happen in a series. And that's what makes them great. When you watch, you'll see an upset. So I think if Dallas is healthy, if Utah is healthy, I think Dallas Mavericks should win. I think they should win probably in 6.
Yes.
I think they should win that series. Now, if Luka is not healthy, Mo, anything can happen. You never know. Maybe with this calf injury, suddenly it tightens up in game 3 or 4 because they'll virtually start playing every other day here
and
because of TV.
You know, as bad as it sounds, if you're the Jazz, you want to be trying to get Luka switched on to Donovan Mitchell, and he's got to try and stay in front of Spider with a bad calf. That's going to be a tough assignment. You know, they're going to try and hide Luka on one of the shooters out on the wing. But it's interesting, but we're going to break that one down further as we get closer to it. Then the other game on the early tip-off on Saturday is going to be Memphis versus whoever finishes number 7th in the West. So go check out yesterday's podcast again. But after that, we have what, in my opinion, is the most fascinating first round series. This is the series that intrigues me the most. Am I right in saying the last time we saw these two teams against each other in the playoffs, we had one of the greatest game winners in NBA history? The Toronto Raptors and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Well, we have different, they're different characters now.
Oh, 100%.
Different actors. There's different actors. But
I will say this.
Okay.
Joel Embiid walking off in Toronto in tears after that game. It's got to be some added motivation for him in this series.
Possibly. The difference is I think he expects to win the series.
Yes.
Last time they met, they didn't know.
Yes.
This time around, he's expecting to win this series. The pressure is on them to win the series because if they don't win this series, Mo, we will have to dedicate an entire show.
An entire week.
To the Philadelphia 76ers.
The end of the process.
They have been in the news. Not because they've been winning, Mo, but because they've been losing in the playoffs.
Yes.
Okay. Starting last year when they lost to the Atlanta Hawks. They've been in the media all season because of the Ben Simmons situation. They make a trade. They're in the media. They start off great. They're in the media. They falter a little bit. They're in the media. And here we are again, Mo, in the media.
Yes.
And Mo, if they don't win this first round, now something will have to change in Philly. I can't think of another player right now off the top that has more pressure on him to perform in the playoffs, not the regular season, than James Harden. So 100%. all eyes, plus, you know, Mo and BJ will be looking in Philly.
So
to see what's going on.
Here's my thing for this series. The most important player in this series isn't James Harden. Isn't Joel Embiid.
Okay.
Isn't Pascal Siakam. Isn't Fred VanVleet. The one player, Matisse Thybulle.
Well, he can't even play.
He can't play in Toronto. He also is a big reason why the Raptors won the season series 3-1, because we thought Ben Simmons not being able to shoot was a problem for Philly, but guess what? This guy can't shoot either, because if you watch the matchups, especially the most recent matchup where the Raptors won, they didn't even guard him. They threw 2 bodies at Joel Embiid every time down, and they said, okay, Thybulle, if you want to shoot, you shoot. We're not even going to attempt to guard you. So maybe him being ineligible to play is a blessing in disguise in this series, because now they can have a shooter on the floor where the defense has to respect the jump shot instead of automatically having two bodies going to Embiid. Do you see where I'm coming from with this?
Well, Mo, it sounds great in theory. I think, everyone loves to talk about the offense. However, Mo, you know how I look at the game. And you know what side I always approach the game from. I work backwards. I work 100%. From the defense to the offense. I'm not worried about shooting shots. Joel Embiid is going to get double teamed. Okay. Now, you say, well, he's got to pass the ball. Well, there's ways to counter that, right, Mo? I can pass it back out and repost before the double team gets there. If I get stops on the other end, it's impossible for you to double team me in transition. Okay, so I'm not really worried about that. If they are double teaming Joel Embiid, you know what that means, Mo? That means they're scoring on the other end. Yeah. And if they are scoring on the other end, I'm probably going to lose the game anyway. Mm-hmm. And we can sit here and say, blame it on Tybal. If I can get stops on the other end, how are you going to double team me in transition?
Okay.
Or early offense?
So here's the thing on the defense, though. As great as Tybal is a defender, they're going to pick on James Harden. They're going to try and put him in every action, as we've seen lots of teams do throughout this season.
That's fine.
Do you think James Harden, who started off hot in Philly, but has cooled off significantly over the recent stretch of games, do you think he was just taking it easy to gear up for the playoffs, or do you think he really has lost a step?
Well, Mo, I don't think he's really lost a step. You know what I think, Mo, is that once this league finds out something about you, it's one thing I know about the NBA. Everyone's communicating with everyone. It's a small league, right? It's only 30 teams. Mm-hmm. Once a team finds your weakness, it gets passed around the league. As you ascend in the playoffs, as you play against better teams, the better teams are able to exploit your weakness or the weakness of your team. How many times do you hear this, Mo? We can't wait to play this year against the Phoenix Suns because we can evaluate who we are. We can't wait to play against Giannis because he is the very best, or KD or what have you. Yeah. Okay. James Harden right now, this is what we know. James Harden isn't playing in a system under Mike D'Antoni where no one was expecting them to play defense anyway. Their whole philosophy was, we're just going to outscore you. Yeah. So you never really focused in on whether or not he was playing defense or not, because you're like, okay, they're just going to score and shoot threes, and James Harden was going to have 35 or 40 points no matter what. Now, Mo, what we're saying is there's a brand of basketball that needs to be played that has proven that works in the NBA. And suddenly now you're not focused as much on what we've all been saying since the 1980s. This isn't old school. This isn't new school.
Here it comes.
This is just the true school. This is just the true school.
I love it.
This is just what it is. Okay. This is what, Mo, you have to defend.
Yeah, of course.
If you're going to win. Okay. And so now James Harden isn't playing that style of basketball, which was unsuccessful. They got to the conference finals, but it wasn't successful. It didn't work when he was there in Brooklyn. It didn't work when he was there in Houston. Mike D'Antoni, who was the coach in Phoenix, it got to a certain level, but it didn't work. So now, Mo, he's playing in a system where they're expected to win. And the big question mark is, can James Harden defend? Which we've never had to ask before. And what is this in year, 13, 14 for him?
Yeah. Well, he can, from what I've seen, he can defend very well on the post. Then. On the post, he's strong as hell. Guarding on the perimeter, though, is a whole nother story.
Well, here we go. Well, Mo, we're going to find out now.
I know they are not going to.
Let me assure you this: if you have any weaknesses coming into this, the ball will always find the weakest defender.
And this is why. This is why I think the Raptors win this series.
I'm very concerned about.
They don't have a weak link on defense. You look at it and you think, all right, cool, we'll go at Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet could be second team all defense. Fred VanVleet is a very good defender. Pascal Siakam is a good defender. OG Anunoby is an elite defender. Gary Trent Jr. holds his own on defense. Precious Achiuwa does a good job on defense, especially in the game against Joel Embiid that we saw a couple weeks ago. I like Toronto to win this. I like what Nick Nurse does, throwing 4 sets of feet in the paint every time Joel Embiid catches the ball and says, you know what? If Tobias Harris is going to score 10 threes tonight and beat us, so be it. I think you can win playing that style of basketball. They're missing defensively, Matisse Thybulle, as you said. James Harden, it remains to be seen what kind of defender he is, but I'm not putting faith in that. It's going to be, if you talk about the best player in the series, Embiid's going to have to come out and put up 40, 50 a night for them to win this.
Joel Embiid, okay. Joel Embiid puts up 40, 50. Okay. If you don't stop anyone, Mo, you can't win the game. Joel Embiid is going to have to do the following. He's going to have to establish there will be no attacking the rim in this series.
Yes.
Now, because of the level of athleticism of this team, talking about the Toronto Raptors,
yes,
I think that's impossible.
Yes.
Because they have long, athletic players. And Mo, you hear me say this over and over again, and I'm apologizing for repeating this to you. There is no counter in this game for speed and quickness.
No, facts.
They not only have length, they have speed, agile, versatile athletes who are going to attack that basket.
And they got shooters.
Okay. And they have, so it's a bad combination because Joel Embiid is the only athlete that I can see that can play the vertical game because they have 4, 5, 6 guys. And
you can't let him get in foul trouble. That's the other thing. Like, I know the Sixers,
exactly.
We rely on a lot of free throws. The referees don't blow the whistle like that. You know, this Joel Embiid averages 20 points a game, but 10 points from the free throw line. How many is he going to get from the free throw line in the postseason compared to the regular season? But conversely, on the other end, if you're looking for Embiid to set the tone and protect the paint and say no one's coming in here, well, I'm looking at the Sixers roster. Who else is there to protect the paint aside from, say, Embiid picks up 2 early fouls?
I'm just attacking the back.
Yeah.
Look, Coach Nurse is going to do this. Okay, this is no secret. They are going to attack that basket.
100%.
Why? Because they're going to force the referees to say one of the following. Either Joel Embiid is going to have 8 blocks in this game and 10, contest at the rim, which is a game changer. And he's capable of doing that. Or he's going to get in early foul trouble, and that's going to force them to go to DeAndre Jordan and play zone or whatever they're going to have to do to hide him.
That's Paul Reed.
I'm putting him in 2 actions immediately. I'm going to spread the court with not a 5-man posting so that all my drivers can drive that rim. And then in all the half court sets, whoever he's guarding, I'm putting in screen roll.
Yep.
I'm going to keep him active.
Especially if he has to guard Siakam.
Whoever he has to, he's going to have to guard those guys during the course of the game. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. I will figure out that matchup. Doc Rivers has to do something.
I don't know how much Doc Rivers can do, but if you had to pick right now which team wins and in how many games, who do you like for that series?
Mo, my mind is telling me Philly.
Mine isn't.
My heart is telling me defense wins.
Teed up.
And Toronto is the better defensive team.
Yes.
Toronto is the deeper team.
Yes.
Toronto has the better athletes.
Yes.
Now, Philly has the better player. They've got the best player in the series. I want to say Philly because I really want to. I like Philly. When they got James Harden, I said, hey, I thought it was a good trade.
Yeah.
But I see so many gaps in Philly's defense right now.
It has to go perfectly.
I'm very, very concerned.
If
Joel Embiid is capable of Joel Embiid he's capable. I just don't think he can sustain it because these guys are just going to come. And I'm telling you right now, Mo, if they get a game up there in Philly in these first 2 games, I could see them ending this series and ending it quickly.
Well, I had Raptors in 6.
I could really.
If the Sixers play like they did immediately after trading for James Harden, then that's changed the whole thing.
Now, I'm going to say Philly. I'm going to say Philly. I'm just going to say Philly because, I just said, oh, man, Philly's going to grind this out. Doc Rivers, I think they're going to figure it out. But I will not be surprised. I am really concerned, and I will not be shocked at all. I mean, if Toronto came there and got that work done quickly. Coaching, but I'm going to say Philly. I'm going to say Philly in 6. That's what I'm going to say. Coaching
wise, I'm picking Nick Nurse over Doc Rivers any day of the week.
Oh man, I can't. No, I can't say that. No, I can't.
In the playoffs,
no, I can't.
10 years ago, I'm going to say Doc Rivers. What I've seen from him with the Clippers in recent years gives me no confidence as to picking him over what we've seen from Nick Nurse in recent years. But I'm sure we're going to continue that conversation as the series progresses.
No, I can't let you say that. I can't let you say that without getting away.
Okay.
I can't let you say that.
Say it.
Doc Rivers has taken a lot of flack for these 3-1 leads and
the most in NBA history. Yes.
Yeah, the most in the okay. But you know what? Every player, every coach, everyone's participated. When I see a coach go out there on that floor and make a basket, then you can throw that argument for me. Okay. I've been in huddles where coaches said play X and the team said, no, we ain't running that play. I've been in huddles where coach has the right play and the team didn't execute it. Now, there's one thing I know about Doc Rivers. He know that game of basketball.
Oh, that's facts.
Okay. And until I can see Doc Rivers hand the ball to a player, just hand it to a player, because y'all not going to tell me that the triangle offense was the greatest offense that's ever made. Okay. Y'all not going to tell me that the late, great Red Auerbach had the greatest defensive schemes ever.
He did. It was called Bill Russell.
Okay. You're not going to tell me that Pat Riley at Showtime had the greatest. No, I'm not buying that. Okay. So we can sit here and it's fun to do, right? It's fun because you got to blame somebody.
It's not blame.
Well, what are we doing there?
It's not blame.
Because if he gives you the right play and you don't go out and execute it, somebody's got to be responsible. I gave Mo the right play. Mo, I put you in isolation versus Kawhi Leonard. Why you couldn't score? That's what I always do. It worked for Jordan. Why didn't it work for you?
It's not blame. This is me saying every time we've watched Nick Nurse coach in the playoffs, and it's not just Doc Rivers. I think Nick Nurse can coach against any coach in this league because
he's won one championship, the same as Doc Rivers.
What he does is his I don't know what the word is for it. When he throws out some of these schemes and these things that you would see in like a high school game, but he does it in the NBA finals. He can do it strategically. Well, I can describe it. I can describe it. Okay, if Steph Curry makes those shots, we would have been making fun of Nick Nurse. How could he run the high school gimmick defenses versus Steph Curry? But he did make it. So now you're going, wow, this guy is. That's what it is. It is what it is. That's every game. That's every series. But
no. So all I'm saying is this: is when you gave Doc Rivers, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo, Ray Allen, he brought home the goods.
Yes.
And when those guys were up 3-1 in the bubble, he had a game plan where they were up 20 every game. Now, somebody's got to take responsibility for that. Yep. And his name wasn't Doc Rivers.
No, his name was Paul George. But what about all the years with Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan in Philly? And my biggest hang up.
Let's look at it. Let's look at it. Let's look at the gaps in their game. DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, and Chris Paul.
They've been up 3-1.
Let's look at the gaps in their games. Now,
you tell me.
Come on,
if they're good enough to get up 3-1, they can win one out of the 3 remaining games.
And let me tell you the hardest part to win a game, the closeout game. That's the hardest one. That's the hardest game. Mo, I've been in closeout games with so-called the greatest player of all time, the greatest one, right? The one we all celebrate. We're playing against the Portland Trail Blazers. Closeout game. Oh, Portland is done. We're da. You know all the rhetoric. Now, no one in the locker room believed it. We're down, Mo, 15, 20 points going to fourth quarter at home. You can look this up, Mo.
Yeah,
Mo,
I've seen it.
You can look it up.
You can
look it up. Okay. What I'm telling you, Mo, the hardest game for a team, because Mo, this is how you win a series. Your best player, he's got to win a game. He's got to win a game in that series. He's just got to have a game where you go, wow. Why does he have to win a game? Because that's going to force the other team to make a commitment. The other team say, you know what? I got to guard. Let's just say this guy, Jordan. I got to guard Jordan with two people, and I'm going to live with the results. The same thing you just said with Nick Nurse.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have Joel Embiid is going to force them to do something. Okay. So your best player has to win a game in a series. Okay. Your bench has to win a game in a series.
Yeah.
Okay. Your team, whoever your second best player, third, they got to win a game. And then the most important is, can your coach in a game and win a game that you're not supposed to win? See, can your coach?
We'll see. I don't need to say nothing. We will see.
Doc Rivers had a game plan where you're up 20.
Okay, but we will see what game plan he brings to this series. Because this is what I'll tell you.
Keep saying,
if the game plan involves,
I just want to say this one thing. Can I just say one thing, and then you can go. It's like Jerry West when he kept going to the NBA final. He went to the NBA finals like 9 times.
Yes.
He only won 1.
Mm.
This is what I respect about Doc Rivers. Winning is about 2 things. It's agony when you lose.
Mm.
It's you win, or you're just it's total agony. There's nothing in between. The fact that Doc Rivers keeps coming, that's called persistence. That's called consistency. There's can only be one winner, though.
Mm.
There can only be one winner. And you know what? And to win, it requires you to have a special player, because no coach is playing.
Mm-hmm.
No coach. And you can't tell me, and I'm respecting all the offenses that these coaches come up with and all of these so-called geniuses, but y'all can't tell me that the San Antonio Spurs suddenly now don't know how to win. Greg Popovich know how to win. There's only one thing missing.
Tim Duncan.
Big fundamentals. Now you're talking my language.
Okay, but so let me tell you this. I hear what you're saying. Okay. If Doc Rivers insists on still playing DeAndre Jordan, who was cut by 2 teams so far this season, instead of Paul Reed, who is significantly better than DeAndre Jordan every time he plays. This is my issue currently with Doc Rivers. But we've got to keep moving. We've got more NBA action to discuss. But I don't want to see DeAndre Jordan in the playoffs. Okay?
Well, we're going to see him, because you know what?
Doc Rivers always plays him because they're
friends. He's got to play DeAndre. See, he has to play DeAndre Jordan. Why? Because I'm going to say it again, Mo. They are going to attack that basket.
Yes.
And I only see 2 shot blockers over there for Philly. I'm sorry. I get animated about this because I can't let people attack people without.
It's not an attack. It's not an attack.
Yeah, it is. If DeAndre Jordan, listen, if they have players that's going to attack the basket, I need shot blockers and people who can play vertical basketball and rim protectors. I got to play DeAndre Jordan.
Why do you play him over Paul Reed?
But I'll say it again, because I have to have people that can protect the rim.
And Paul Reed can't do that.
Okay, you tell me. You tell me which one can. You watch the game like me.
I'd rather play Paul Reed than DeAndre Jordan.
Okay, that's fine. And then when you lose with Paul Reed, are you going to take the responsibility? No, lose with what you believe can work. We're going to funnel with big bodies. Okay. You cannot play games when you get to, there's no counter to speed and quickness. I don't have an athlete that can counter what they can do. Paul Reed included.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have it, you got to take away something, Mo. You're playing against Allen Iverson. You can't run as fast as Allen Iverson, Mo. So what are you going to do? What are you going to take away? At least I can meet these athletes at the basket if DeAndre Jordan plays.
We'll see.
At least we can play that game.
We will see.
Okay. That's all I want to say. But you know what? That's Doc Rivers and his staff's problem. We can have our opinion, but to me, when you're playing the game and you're playing against speed and quickness, you got to take away something. You can't just, if you don't have another athlete that's just as fast, like you're telling me that Paul Reed can guard Siakam and these guys? Are you telling me
better than DeAndre can? That's what I'm telling you, and you will see it throughout the course of the series.
I hope you're right, because I'm picking Philly. I hope you're right. I'm picking Philly. But go ahead, let's go.
I've been watching.
I hope you're right.
I know I'm right, but anyway, the Golden State Warriors take on the Denver Nuggets in the final game of Saturday's action.
Oh, man.
This is an intriguing matchup because we don't know what Steph Curry's status will be returning. So we've got
it doesn't matter. I don't even think it matters.
You think the Nuggets are going to pull off the upset regardless of Steph? Or you think the Warriors are going to win regardless of Steph?
All right. First of all, I want to take this word upset out. Okay. When you have an MVP on your team,
yes,
I want you to stop with the novice stuff.
It's a 6 seed versus a 3 seed.
No. You can't be we're not playing that, but we're not playing the mathematic game here. We're playing the game. That's why we're going to play this game.
Okay.
Jokic is an MVP. Jokic, I don't care who's on the floor, will be the best player on the floor in that series.
Yes.
Facts.
Yes.
Now I'm standing on that one, Mo. I'm not playing this game today. Real name, no gimmicks. Now you got me fired up, Mo.
Hey, this is what we do.
He's going to be the best player on the floor.
Yes.
I don't care if Steph Curry is playing, Klay Thompson is playing, everybody's healthy. He will be the best player on the floor.
Yeah, he could be the back-to-back MVP by the time they take to the court.
Okay, now, so this is not an upset. There's a reason he's the MVP. There's a reason. We said all season he's the MVP because he brought these guys along, da-da-da. So if what I'm saying holds true, he's going to win a game or two because he's the MVP. See, Giannis is going to win 2 games in the series.
At least.
He may win 4 games in a series. That's how great he is. He's going to win 2. Okay, Malone, hey, he's got to match wits over there with Kerr for 1 game, and then the team. This isn't an upset. Okay.
So you're expecting Denver to win.
This is what I'm expecting. This is going to be a battle of the wheels because you're going to have a big who's going to play and is going to get 50 to 60 possession in the operating area below the free throw line, which is going to put an unusual amount of pressure on 2 people, Kevon Looney and Draymond Green.
I'm fascinated by that
Draymond Green is going to have to play mano a mano versus Jokic.
That fascinates me.
And let me tell you something. Small ball doesn't affect Jokic. So that's going to compromise Steve Kerr's defense. Now, that I know coming into this series. Now, I don't know what the counter is. I don't know how they're going. Are they going to try to speed up the game?
Yes.
Whatever it is, it's going to be a battle of the wheels. Now, everyone's may pick the Warriors because they'll say they have more depth. I can understand that. But you're not going to tell me this is going to be an upset because the MVP could impose his will on this series.
Well, what's interesting?
The MVP.
What's interesting is the Denver Nuggets won the regular season series 3-1, but we didn't actually see Draymond going up against Nikola Jokic the whole time because Draymond was out with injuries. So I'm really intrigued to see how because Draymond prides himself on taking on these big men in these matchups. So I'm intrigued. What I like about the Warriors here, I believe they have a deeper roster than the Denver Nuggets.
I agree.
They have a much deeper roster, arguably better coaching, but I don't want to have a coaching debate because we just had that in the last thing. But I like Golden State for this, even though they have the MVP, because as much as they have the MVP and Aaron Gordon, the rest of the guys, I don't know. Because if you look at the regular season, is Jokic just carrying these guys. And then you've got guys like Bones Highland, the rookie, stepping up in that game against Philly down the stretch. Is he going to repeat that in the NBA playoffs? Guarded by Klay Thompson, who's looking stronger and stronger every game that he plays? I don't know. I like Golden State for this one. But are you rolling with Denver?
I'm going to pick Golden State. And the reason I'm going to pick Golden State is because I'm just going to state principle. I think they are better on the defensive end as a team. I think they can extend.
People forget, the first 4 months of the season. I think they can extend.
Okay. And I think they have more depth. However, the same way I feel about Luka Doncic and Giannis and these guys, Jokic is very capable of having a moment. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Big time.
He's very capable, Mo, of having a moment. And I can't just say you got the MVP. Mo, you can have back-to-back MVP this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to win a game or two by himself. I would be shocked if he gets swept.
Yeah.
He's going to have. And Mo, he will not only be the best player on the floor, he will be the biggest player on the floor.
Mm-hmm. By far. Golden State got a small team.
I don't know what Golden State will do to counter this. Maybe they go zone. I have no idea. But what I do know is that if Draymond gets in foul trouble, and I don't anticipate Draymond Green being able to handle Jokic.
It's over.
Okay. So I'm going to pick Golden State because I think they have the more depth. I'm going to pick Golden State. I think they're a better defensive group. But Jokic, these guys are great.
Yep.
Jokic is great. The guy could win a series, and then I shouldn't be like, oh my God, this is the biggest upset of all. You're talking about a guy. This is why he's great.
But look at the rest of the team.
He's done this all year.
That's why I think it's an upset, because of the rest of the squad.
Oh, no. Aaron Gordon's a really good player.
He's good.
The Jeff Green's a really, really, really good player. Jeff Green is a really good player. Okay? These guys are good. These are good players. These are good players. It's not like you're Klay Thompson right now is not that Klay Thompson.
No, we're not comparing Klay Thompson to Jeff Green.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on.
No, I'm not comparing anybody to anybody. But what I'm saying is Klay Thompson of old. This isn't that same version.
But this is not the same version of Jeff Green in his prime either.
Okay. What I'm saying, Mo, is that these guys are good players in their own right.
Yes.
Jeff Green is a good player. Jeff Green is very capable of having one game of 25 or 30 points. He's capable of that.
I would be shocked if Jeff Green went off for 30 in this year's NBA playoffs. I would love it because I'm a huge Jeff Green fan.
They're going to have to double team from somewhere. One of these guys, Monte Morris, one of these guys are going to have a big game. Gordon, Bones, one of these, they're going to have to double team Jokic. Now I expect Jokic with Green. What's the other guy's name? Jermichael Green. One of these guys are going to have 25 or 30. Why? Because they're going to leave one of these guys open.
Yeah, I see it.
You can't. Jeff Green can catch 5 or 6 alley-oops in a game.
Okay,
he can get those. He will get open shots. Why? Because that will be the design of the defense.
Well, the only time Jeff Green scored over 20 points so far this season is against teams that don't qualify for the playoffs currently. Season high 26 against the Los Angeles Lakers. His best performance, arguably, is against the Phoenix Suns, where he had 19. He was 1 from 5 from downtown, but 6 from 8 from the free throw line. So maybe not even the perimeter shooting, just being aggressive and attacking on the inside. Because, like you said, with Looney and Green, they don't have that much interior presence for the Golden State Warriors.
Somebody is going to step up. This is why we're playing. We know this. Jokic is going to affect the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's the counter and who's going to execute? Somebody is going to get free looks and open shots. That's how the game goes.
So are you picking Denver or Golden State?
I'll say it again. I'm picking the Warriors.
Because you keep saying
the reason why.
You keep saying I'm picking Golden State and then giving me reasons why Denver's going to win.
Because I'm giving you reasons is because this is a very close. This could go either way. I'm not like convinced. Like as I'm saying this, I'm just saying Golden State.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not like
it's like Philly and Toronto.
It's
not a landslide.
This is like you can make an argument here. I'm just saying now. This is just a feel. This is just a feel.
You ready for the segue?
Like, okay, I think Golden State. Yeah, but
speaking of landslides, the final series to discuss has the most landslide potential of them all, in my humble opinion. Because on Sunday, Boston's playing the 7th seed, Miami's playing the 8th seed, Phoenix playing the 8th seed. We don't know who they're going to be playing, but we do know.
If you guys play Boston, if Boston plays Brooklyn, that's
the conversation for later this week. Woo. And we'll have that conversation later this week.
Mo, you got on all black right now? Hey, Mo, you got a problem now.
PJ,
you got a serious problem. You got a serious problem.
If people know me,
you got a serious problem.
I wear black tracksuit.
This playoffs is somebody is going to get upset. I don't know who.
Kevin Durant. Now, but we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later in the week.
No. Kevin Durant's not going to get upset. You're favored to win. You're going to be favored to win that series.
Okay, and we will win it. But that's a conversation for later this week. The conversation today is the Milwaukee Bucks hosting the Chicago Bulls.
Now this one I feel pretty good about this one.
For Milwaukee, I got Milwaukee
Milwaukee, yeah.
5.
Yeah, out of respect, I'm gonna say 5, but I'm expecting 4.
I've got Milwaukee. I would have had Milwaukee in 4, but I know DeMar DeRozan in a close game, he can hit a shot or two and win it for the Chicago Bulls.
I don't see any counters that they can do for. Only counter I see them, they have to shoot exceptionally well from 3.
Well, I
don't see any counters.
If there's one game where Giannis just gets in crazy foul trouble early on in the game, then they'll have a chance. I can't say they'll be swept, but I expect them to make no further than 5. I don't expect this to go 6 or 7.
Out of respect, I'm going to say 5. Out of respect, they're going to get one game.
And we've talked about this a bunch of times on the show. The interior defense or lack of for the Chicago Bulls. I think this is going to be a good test for Brook Lopez on Milwaukee to be fully back up to speed, to see where he's at in his game, especially having to guard the rim with guys like, Zach LaVine coming to attack in the paint. It's going to be an interesting test, a litmus test, to see how far along he is in his recovery.
I think Brook is ready. I think this team is ready. I think they're sharp. They look great. I'm picking them to come out of the East.
Okay.
The East is terrific, but I'm picking them to come out of the East. Now, all these other, I think, can go back and forth, and this has been a fun exercise.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a fun exercise because it could go either way.
Yes.
I'm going to pick Philly. I'm going to stick with Philly, but I'm going, Toronto is there, right?
The only series I feel comfortable in is the Bucks. The rest of them,
I don't. I'm just, I'm just going to stay principled and say Golden State is the better defensive team. They have more depth, but I could see Steve Kerr not going to his bench because what I find fascinating as I'm watching Golden State. You're watching Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson and Wiggins play. When Steph comes back, I think Jordan Poole has to go to the bench.
Well, they're saying they want to keep him in the starting lineup.
Okay, well, that small lineup is not going to work against Jokic. See, this is what I see, Mo. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Now, Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson.
Do you see anywhere? Let
me
ask you this. Do you see anywhere in the world where Steph, because he's not fully healthy, comes off the bench just for the first game, second game?
Mo, I'm just telling you what I see. Mo. Kuminga and Jordan Poole, they deserve to play. Why? Because they both bring a level and an energy to the game.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're just going to try and outrun the Joker.
Okay. No. Okay. You can try to outrun it. But Mo, you and I both know in the playoffs, what happens in the playoffs? The game slows down a little bit. And if you play 4 little guards and think you can double team Jokic with Steph
four
Curry
little guards
and
plus
P,
6'6" Draymond Green.
If you think that's working, okay,
Jokic 50-piece pending.
On 75% shooting, Mo, that's not going to work against him.
So
now I don't know what he's going to do. When I say I don't know what Steve Kerr's going to do. That's why they get paid the big bucks. That's over my pay grade and your pay grade. But I do know this. He's not going to come out there with Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Wiggins, and Draymond Green for 40 plus minutes versus the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't happening.
So let me say this. If you guys at home are wondering why we haven't previewed Boston or Phoenix or Miami or Memphis, is because we don't know who they're playing yet. Come back after the play-in matchups are set. But there is one more thing we have to discuss, Mr. Armstrong. This comings and goings in the NBA world. I saw something real disrespectful. that I got to talk about. Now, the Lakers played their best game of the season in the final game. Game number 82 was such a fun game.
Did you really just say that, Mo?
Yes.
You know what? Stop trolling.
Oh, it's fun.
Why are you doing that, Mo?
It was fun to watch. I had a lot of fun watching Austin Reeves triple-double.
They played their best game and none of their top guys played. Come on, Mo.
Yes. It was the most fun I've had watching the Lakers all season. Okay?
Okay.
41 for Malik Monk, triple-double for Austin Reeves. Anyway, they went up against Denver's bench. Cool, whatever. Anyway, the game finished, and within seconds of the game finishing, Adrian Wojnarowski tweets, the Lakers are firing head coach Frank Vogel. The team expects to tell him on Monday. This was on Sunday night, by the way. Do you think Frank Vogel don't have a Twitter account, or his friends and family don't have a Twitter account, that you're going to tweet out that Frank Vogel's been fired, but the Lakers don't have the decency to tell him until the next day? They didn't even let him do the post-game media availability. They didn't even let him, I heard James Worthy say, they didn't even let him get to do the end of season interviews. This is a man who 2 years ago delivered you a championship, which you claim is a real championship that they won at Disney World. And I just thought that was downright disrespectful. They couldn't even do the courtesy of waiting until he got home from the arena. They couldn't even do the courtesy of talking to him after the game, because this was while they were walking off the court. Now, I don't know who leaked that news. I know Woj is just doing his job. I can't be mad at him for just reporting the story that he's been given. But whoever leaked that, or whoever told him to post that, I find that very disrespectful to Coach Frank Vogel. And the Lakers are in a tough spot, because I don't know, all these rumors that they're going to bring in Nick Nurse, I don't think he goes there. Rumors about Doc Rivers, well, he's still under contract in Philly. There's all these rumors and swirling, thoughts about who's going to be the head coach in Los Angeles. But I don't think it matters with the way that roster is structured, unless there's some significant changes. Also, add to the fact, Frank Vogel's just become a scapegoat for the front office who put this team together, because he could only coach with the pieces that he's been given. He's a defensive coach. They won the championship with a defensive team, and then they tried to build an offensive team. And then they wonder why it didn't work out. BJ, what are your thoughts on the firing of Frank Vogel and who could be next in line to replace him? Because I've heard a few whispers.
Well, first, I want to be very respectful to all the parties, because all of the parties I personally know.
Yes.
All right. I personally know. And in particular, the party who reported it, I know.
Legend in this game.
Okay? In complete transparency. Okay. So everyone, right? The general manager of the Lakers, the owner of the Lakers, the person who reported it, Frank Vogel, I know. I have relationships with all of these people. So I want to be very respectful, because I don't want to be so callous in the business that I start saying, oh, this guy's got fired, and not be sensitive to that. I mean, that stinks, Mo. You know what I mean? It really stinks, right? There's no way about it. Okay. Now, in saying that, I can respect people when they are relieved of their duties. I can respect when someone doesn't perform, that there's a change being made. But Mo, there's a way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be respectful. And I've always tried to maintain that level of respect and humanity and bring that to the business, because Mo, you never know who's watching, but more importantly, now that I'm in my 50s, I'm very aware, sensitive to like young people who are watching.
Yeah.
How that was done, Mo, was not okay by the adults.
Facts.
Okay. The fact that it was done, I'm all for that. Somebody's got to take responsibility for it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I think it was understood. It probably was going to be the coach, how it is most of the time, whether it's deserving or not. But Mo, that's bad karma now on how that was done, because I know all of those people involved. And I will say this, I would be shocked, and I don't want to know, and I would never ask, but I would be shocked that was being reported, because that wasn't asked to put it out there that way. I will say that.
Yeah. No, that's what I was getting to. That's what I was getting to.
Follow me. But I would be.
The reporter's doing his job. He's not made it up. Someone has told him, this is what we're doing. Tell everyone.
Yes. Now, to me, Mo, again, there's no way for me to know. It's very irresponsible if it was. And I know the person that reported that. And that would be very irresponsible to do that, unless somewhere down the line that was done for whatever the reason was done.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying, Mo. There's a way to do this. I just wish that it was done in a different way. The problem is the fact that it was done didn't bother me.
Yeah.
I just didn't like how it was done.
Yeah,
I just wanted
the timing of it. The timing of it was just.
It was just, you know what I mean? It's like Mo. Like,
some things you keep in the family. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep the family inside.
And Mo,
especially the guys won you a championship and been nothing but a professional.
Out of
He's not complained
for him.
Yes.
And Mo, whoever is responsible, right? We can all make cases. Some people can say, well, it's highly unlikely that he had any say-so into the players he coached this year. Mm-hmm. Okay. But to his credit, to Coach Vogel's credit this year, he won a championship. To his credit this year, he coached that team. And to his credit, he coached what was available to him and didn't, at least outwardly, say anything negative about the team, and stayed very positive with this group. Mm-hmm. When sometimes, Mo, I thought he could have, should have, probably, got a little, got some things off his chest. Yep. But that's the difference between him and I, because some of the things weren't his fault. I just thought it could have been handled a little better, Mo, and more respectful in a way, especially with a franchise like the Lakers. Yeah. And that's what's it just gets disappointing to me, because Mo, without trying to, I just want to say this, Mo, there's a time and place for everything. And the way that was handled was another thing that just didn't feel good about the business. Hey, we all know people will get fired in this business. We all know, as players, at some point you'll get cut or released or whatever the case may be. But Mo, there's a way to do things. Yeah. And if there's one thing, Mo, that I take great pride in, is leadership. Yes. And that was unacceptable, Mo. That was unacceptable to this league. This league demands better. Respect is a major part. We should demand better of ourselves. We get it. He was going to get fired. We get it. We get why he was going to be fired. We get it. He understood that. Okay, but there's a level of respect in how we treat each other. And Mo, I just, that one, I can't take it. And when I say I can't take it, I'm not going to say that was representative of our very best at that moment. It was one of those moments that we all wish we could take back and get a redo. You know what I mean? If we was a golfer, hey man, I want a mulligan on that one. Maybe I could have done that one a different way.
I don't know what mulligan is. Golf is outside of my tax bracket currently, but we'll talk about that another day, maybe. but you know, the good news for Frank Vogel, a coaching job has just opened in Sacramento. Alvin Gentry will be moving from the head coaching position where he was an interim coach into somewhere within the organization's front office. We're going to be discussing that later in the week. That's been an extended episode of the Hoop Genius podcast. We've been going for almost an hour, breaking down these playoff matchups. We'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy the play-in action tonight, because we're going to find out who the 7th seed is tomorrow in the Eastern Conference. And then we'll know who is playing against the Boston Celtics. And then we'll know the 7th seed in the West, who's going to be taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. So we'll be back tomorrow morning. We'll see you guys there. BJ will be there. I'll be there. And most importantly, until then, get buckets.